Let's dive in. Number 7, USC at number 20, Utah. Utah, as I mentioned, coming off that loss to UCLA. Brady, I'm curious. USC 6-0 for the first time since 2004. Do you think teams are starting to somewhat figure out Caleb Williams?
Yeah, to a degree. I think what you're seeing is a lot of softer coverage, lighter boxes. They're forcing them basically hand the football off to Travis Stein. You're seeing a lot more production from him. So that's been an adjustment. I think they're trying to limit a lot of the big plays that we saw earlier in the year from the Trojans and really not allow them to get started with that or just run away from them in games. But the good thing you saw from USC last week versus Washington State was halftime adjustments. Their defense came out second half, pitched a shutout. They were more physical up front. I think you saw that too from their offense and adapting to what they were going to see from Washington State. Similar challenge this week. Utah's a very physical team on both sides of the football. I give them the edge here, though. I just think they're a more complete team when you look at some of the maybe the issues or lack of depth that USC has on defense. I think it's going to showcase itself. Cameron Rising's having himself quite the season. He's a dual threat quarterback. He can hurt you with his legs. Not to go without mentioning they're obviously the rushing attack too. But bottom line is I think 3.5 points in Salt Lake City at altitude. It's a tough environment too. I'll go ahead and lay the 3.5 points. I don't love the hook here, Danny, but I do think Utah, even though they've got a couple of losses, probably is the better team, just maybe not the more talented team.
When I look at USC, it's a great story, 6-0 start, but I also think at the beginning of the season, if you looked at their schedule, he said, yeah, that's probably doable. And now it's the best case scenario, being undefeated. But now's when the fun begins. Now when we get to find out what USC is for real, and I'm with you. I like the Utes here playing at home. Rice Eccles playing at altitude. There's going to be a loud crowd. It's going to be crowd noise you're going to have to handle. It'll be one of the more hostile environments, and it'll be the most talented roster they've faced. This has been a perennial team that has been in the hunt for Pac-12 championships the last 3 or 4 years with Kyle Whittingham doing a great job. They will test the physicality of the USC front seven with Tavion Thomas running straight at you. Cam Rising, who is coming off one of his worst games with just 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. But I thought the UCLA loss was more about UCLA being a really, really good football team than it was about Utah not being competitive. In that game, UCLA jumped out right ahead, kind of Utah could never get their way back in the game. Playing at home, a little more desperate. I like Utah in this situation too. The only thing I'll disagree on is the under. I think their defense will be able to keep USC's offense in check, which more teams are starting to do. Amanda said if they figured them out. I don't know if you ever figure out all of that talent, but teams surely have figured out how to slow them down somewhat.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.